The snow fell like ash, quiet, but full of warning. The train stopped. Not scheduled. Poirot looked up. This isn't on the timetable. Hastings checked his watch. We're early. Sandfort Station. Small, empty, no one waiting. A man stepped forward. Long coat, grey scarf, serious eyes. Poirot, he said. Welcome. It was Joro, retired magistrate, old friend of Poirot. They shook hands. And Captain Hastings, Poirot added. Your rooms are ready, Joro said. The car ride was short. Few houses. No people. Quiet place, Hastings said. Joro didn't answer. At the inn, keys were waiting. Fire was lit. Poirot didn't sit. He stood by the window. The chateau is near, he asked. Just beyond the woods, Joro said. You'll see it in daylight. Who lives there? Etienne Verne, landowner, his wife, his sister. Big house, big but shrinking inside. Poirot nodded once. Later, they ate. The food was fine. No one spoke much. A boy brought tea, looked afraid, left quickly. That boy, Hastings said. He couldn't wait to leave. They know, Poirot said. Know what? Poirot didn't reply. Night came. The inn grew quiet. Poirot checked his watch. Midnight. Then, a knock, sharp, 3 times. Poirot opened the door. Cold air hit his face. Joro stood there. No coat, no gloves, his face, pale as paper. No scream, no gun, just a man who never woke up. Joro entered. Didn't sit. There's been a death. Poirot looked up. Who? Etienne Verne. Found dead in bed. Accident. Unclear. When? Early morning. Anyone else know? Just the inspector. And now you. Show me, Poirot said. They left the inn. No talk on the way. The chateau door was open. No servant greeted them. Inside, Inspector Duval waited, not smiling. Gentlemen, he said. Welcome to trouble. Poirot didn't answer. He looked around, straight to business. Duval said. He had dinner, almond cake, then said he felt heavy, went to sleep, never woke. Poirot asked. Anyone else eat the cake? No, just him. Who made it? His wife, Elod Verne. Poirot raised one brow. Interesting. She says it's a family recipe, Duval added. Poirot, any history of illness? Duval, none that we know. He opened his notebook. Supper was at 9. He was dead before dawn. Poirot, where is he? Duval led them upstairs. Master bedroom, curtains drawn. Etienne lay stiff, face tight, hands curled. Poirot stood still. Doctor. Dr. Bisson stepped forward. I examined him at 6. Too late. Poirot, what did you see? Signs of poisoning. From the cake. The doctor paused. Larry stuff. And a doctor. Bisson stepped forward. I examined him at 6. Too late. Poirot, what did you see? Signs of poisoning. From the cake. The doctor paused. Before he touched the cake, she looked like grief sculpted in stone. Perfect. Untouched. Poirot entered the salon. Elod Verne stood near the window. Black dress. No tears. She turned. You are the detective? Yes. Poirot said. This is Captain Hastings. She nodded. Please sit. Poirot didn't. You prepared the cake? Yes. For your husband? Yes. Why only him? He came late. Others had eaten. Who else was present? My sister-in-law Marie. Cook. Housekeeper. No one else? No. You ate nothing. I had already eaten. Your husband. Did he seem ill? He complained of a headache. That's all. Poirot. When did you last see him? Around 9. After cake. He said he was tired. Did he often feel unwell? No. He wasn't weak. Hastings asked. How was your marriage? Elodor looked at him. Formal. Expected. Not affectionate. Did you resent him? I endured him. Poirot said. The cake. You chose almond. It was his favorite. You baked it yourself. Yes. I told the cook what to do. You know almond is linked to poison. Everyone knows that. But you served it anyway. Yes, she said. Because I had nothing to hide. Poirot stepped closer. And yet he died. She didn't flinch. I served him, not poison. Poirot turned to Hastings. Let's check the study, he said. The brandy decanter in the study, half empty. The house was warm, but everyone in it was freezing. Poirot entered the library. Marie Verne sat straight, gloves on, eyes steady. Miss Verne, Poirot said. She nodded once. You want to speak about my brother? Yes, and about the night he died. I expected this. Hastings stayed quiet. Poirot stepped forward. You were at dinner. I was present. You didn't eat the cake. No, I never cared for almonds. Your relationship with your brother, difficult. He was strict, proud, resentment. She blinked. Let's say disagreement. Poirot, you lived here long, all my life. You managed the house? Yes, until Eleanor came. And then, she took over, quietly, but fully. How did you feel about that? Marie didn't answer. Poirot changed direction. The study. Who cleaned it? I did. Servants? I oversaw it. Myself. Why? He liked order. So did I. You touched the desk, the shelves. Yes. Everything stayed how he liked it. Even the drinks. I kept the decanter full. If empty, I refilled it. Before dinner, if needed. Yes. Hastings asked. Did you do that recently? Marie looked at him, didn't speak. Poirot asked again. The brandy. Did you refill it the night before he died? She paused. Maybe. She lingers too long when asked about the brandy. The clock struck 9. Etienne was already dead. Poirot stood in the hallway, notes in hand, eyes on the doorways. Time to begin, he said. Hastings nodded. The staff entered, one by one. First, the cook. She wore a white apron, hands folded, voice low. I served at 8. Everything hot. He came late. Who? Monsieur Verne, Poirot asked. What did he eat? Soup, roast, cake. Anyone else? No, they had already eaten. Poirot. Did he speak? Yes. He looked tired, said he felt off. Did he look ill? He looked wrong, pale, breathing heavy. Did you say anything? I warned them. I told Marie. He didn't look well. Hastings wrote quickly. Poirot asked. Was the cake fresh? Yes. I baked it that morning. Any special ingredients? Almond, his favorite, nothing else. Next came the housekeeper. She shifted her weight, looked at the floor. He seemed angry, not sick. Angry why? I don't know. His face was tight, like holding something back. Poirot, did you hear anything unusual? No, just his voice, raised, once, then quiet. Did he drink? Yes, brandy, before and after dinner. Poirot paused. Who gave him the brandy? She looked confused. It was already poured. Poirot nodded. Last came the butler, tall, calm, too calm. Routine dinner, he said. Did Monsieur Verne say anything? He said nothing, until dessert. And then, he coughed, held his chest, said he felt warm. Did anyone respond? Madame offered water. He waved her off. Poirot stepped closer. What were his exact words? The butler blinked. Poirot wrote it down. Time, hours before dessert. 2 shadows in the herb garden. Too close, too quiet. Poirot pointed toward the bench. You were seen there. Charvet folded his arms. Taking air is not a crime. Eleanor Verne was with you. She needed fresh air too. At night, Charvet's jaw tightened. She was upset. Why were you comforting her? I wasn't. Poirot leaned forward. Many people saw. You and her. Too close. Charvet stayed silent. Hastings stepped in. Were you in a relationship? No. Were you ever? No. Doesn't look that way, Hastings said. Poirot, did Etienne know about these talks? I don't know what he knew. Did he trust you? I did my job. You're the estate steward. You handle money. Records. Access. Yes. You could enter any room. Yes. Did you ever serve drinks? No. Poirot never touched the brandy? Never. Hastings opened the notebook. You're close to Eleanor? We've worked together. She respects me. Emotionally close? No. Poirot, but she comes to you? At night? Charvet didn't reply. There was a pause. Poirot turned. Bring in the servant, he said. The youngest maid entered. Nervous. Fidgeting. Poirot spoke gently. You saw something. She nodded. In the study. When? 2 nights ago. What did you see? Eleanor. She was near the decanter. Was anyone else there? No. Poirot. What was she doing? She poured the brandy. For herself? I think. No. For whom? I don't know. But she poured it. Yes. The vineyard sleeps, but the roots remember everything. Poirot walked with Giraud. Rows of vines on both sides. No wine talk. Only facts. How large is the estate? Poirot asked. 70 hectares. Giraud replied. All under Verne's name. And now, that depends on the will. Was it clear? Outdated, Giraud said. 20 years old. Hastings joined them. Any recent changes? Not official, Giraud replied. But there were whispers. Of what? Poirot asked. New beneficiaries. A new draft. It never reached the notary. Why not? Etienne wanted to deliver it himself. Poirot stopped walking. He told you this? Yes. Last week. Who stood to lose? Giraud hesitated. Maybe Marie. Maybe Charvet. Gain. Elode. Possibly the orphanage he supported. Who handled the documents? Charvet. Giraud said. He kept all estate papers. Did he oppose the change? He said nothing. But I sensed tension. Poirot nodded. Was there financial stress? Yes. Vineyard debts. Supplier conflicts. Who knew? Etienne. Charvet. Possibly Elode. Hastings. Any forged documents? I wouldn't say forged, Giraud said, but adjusted. Quietly. Poirot asked. Do you have copies? Giraud pulled a file from his coat. Just these. Poirot flipped through them. Paused at a signature. This is not the same handwriting, he said. Giraud looked down. I noticed that too. Poirot held up a page. This one. When was it written? 4 days before the death. Poirot folded the papers. He was changing the will. Yes, Giraud said. That very week. Etienne had planned to rewrite the will that very week. He said the room was too cold, but the fire never died. Poirot met Marcel in the corridor. 5 minutes, Marcel said. That's all I have. Enough, Poirot replied. Where were you at 6? In the study. Fire was lit. I brought the tray. What tray? Evening brandy. 1 glass. He liked it at 6 sharp. You poured it? No, it was already poured. By whom? I don't know. I only delivered. Poirot. Was Etienne alone? Yes. He waved me off. Did he drink it immediately? I believe so, Hastings asked. What happened after? I returned an hour later. He was in the same chair, face red, said the fire wasn't helping. Did he say he felt unwell? He said, it burns inside. I thought he meant the brandy. Poirot. Did you see the glass? Yes. Empty. Same spot. Poirot looked at his notes. So poisoning began before dinner. Yes, Marcel said. That fits. Who else had access to the study? Any staff. But only 2 ever entered at that hour. Who? Marie. And sometimes Madame Ellard. Poirot. Who usually poured the drink? Depends. But, he paused. But what? Madame did it last week. Once. Before that. Mostly Marie. Poirot wrote quickly. He closed the notebook. Marie used to help, Marcel said. She poured his drink for years. Too many clues. And all of them are obvious. That's the problem. Poirot stood over the table. Papers in rows. Notes sorted by time, not topic. Hastings watched. You've gone quiet. I'm thinking. Poirot pointed to the cake. This was a trick. A red herring? Yes. Too convenient. Too visible. He pointed to the brandy. This is closer, but not the whole truth. Hastings leaned in. What about Ellen and Charvet? Poirot shook his head. Distraction. They were seen together. Exactly. Too easy. A killer doesn't advertise. He moved to another paper. Timeline begins at 6 p.m. Brandy served. Symptoms started. Hastings. Then dinner. Then dessert. Then death. Correct. But Etienne was already poisoned. Poirot tapped his pen. No scream. No fight. Only burning inside. That tells me something. What? The killer planned pain. Slow. Clean. No mess. Someone cold. Yes. Someone careful. Someone who stayed close. Poirot listed names aloud. Ellard, Marie, Charvet, staff. Then he circled one. Not who stood to gain, he said. Who needed to stay unnoticed? The cook. No. Too simple. The butler. No. The key is not what they did. It's what they didn't do. Hastings looked confused. Poirot continued. Every witness noticed pain, not panic. That matters. How? Because someone wanted that reaction. Not death, but display. Poirot stepped back. A killer who manipulates the scene is proud. Proud, yes, but careful enough to vanish into the background. The killer, Poirot said, wanted to be seen as invisible. It doesn't scream. It waits, like resentment. Poirot entered the chemist's shop. The bell rang. A man in glasses looked up. I sent a sample, Poirot said. From a glass? Yes, monsieur. I tested it. What did you find? Traces. Not much. Of what? Strychnine. Hastings took a step forward. Are you sure? The chemist nodded. Enough to kill. Slowly. Poirot. Mixed with anything? No, pure. Dissolved in liquid. How long until symptoms appear? Within the hour. And death? 2 to 3 hours. Depends on the dose. Poirot closed his notebook. Merci, he said. They walked out. So it was poison, Hastings said. Yes, strychnine. And not in the cake. Brandy then? Yes. Poirot reviewed the timeline aloud. 6 p.m. Brandy served. Symptoms started. Hastings. That confirms everything. No, Poirot said. It narrows everything. They reached the estate. Poirot gathered everyone. He pointed to the study. The poison was in the glass, not the cake, not dessert. Eleanor looked confused. Charvet looked away. Marie stared straight ahead. Poirot turned to Marcel. Who poured the brandy? I said I didn't know. Yes, Poirot said. But you meant, you didn't see. Poirot moved closer to Marie. You entered the study often. Yes. You managed the household. Yes. You handled the drinks. Sometimes. Recently? She hesitated. Yes. Poirot stepped back. He raised the notebook. Access. Trust. Familiarity. Hastings added. Routine. Poirot nodded. And motive. Marie didn't blink. Only one person had both motive and perfect access. The sister. Chairs in a circle, as if waiting for judgment. Poirot stood at the center. Everyone else sat. Eleanor. Marie. Charvet. Marcel. The time has come. Hastings stood near the door. Quiet. Poirot began. Etienne Verne was poisoned. That is no longer a theory. It is fact. Silence. Poirot looked at Marie. You had motive. He turned to Charvet. You had opportunity. He turned to Eleanor. You had mystery. Then he held up the notebook. But motive alone does not kill. Poison does. And poison needs placement. He paused. The cake was a distraction, a visible bait. It confused the timeline. Poirot walked slowly. Only one item entered Etienne's body before dinner, the brandy. He tapped the notebook. The poison was there. Charvet shifted in his seat. Poirot pointed. But who poured it? Hastings answered. Marie handled the brandy. Poirot nodded, and she had a reason. Marie didn't react. Poirot, Etienne changed the will. He was cutting you out. Still no reaction. Poirot took another step. You knew. You saw the papers. You had access. Marie finally looked up. I served him for years. Yes, Poirot said, which is why he trusted you. I didn't mean. Poirot raised a hand. Wait. He turned to Ellard. You knew something. Why didn't you speak? Ellard whispered. Because I saw her. That night, near the study. Why didn't you tell me? I wasn't sure. Poirot faced Marie again. You poured the drink. Marie nodded once. Slow. Why? I only meant to scare him, she whispers. She stood like a queen. Even as the crown fell, Marie did not cry. She did not collapse. She stared ahead. I warned him, she said. Years ago. Inspector Duval entered, hat in hand. Is it confirmed? Poirot nodded. Yes, she confessed. Strychnine, in the brandy. Duval looked at Marie. You understand what this means? Yes. You poisoned him, knowingly. Yes. Why? He replaced me, in blood, in paper, in respect. Duval stepped closer. You'll need to come with me. Marie didn't resist. I know. Hastings whispered. She doesn't look shaken. Poirot, because she isn't. This was always her endgame. Eleanor stayed silent, eyes fixed on the rug. Duval took Marie's wrists. Turn around. She did. The cuffs clicked. Still, she stood straight. You waited until the will changed. Marie replied. I knew it was coming. I read the new draft. You found it. I made sure too. Duval, you used the brandy. I'd poured it for him 100 times. He never questioned. Did you regret it? Marie said nothing. Hastings, did you mean to kill him? No. Poirot stepped forward. But he died. Marie didn't answer. Eleanor's finally spoke. She hated him. Marie turned. He gave you everything. He gave you more, Eleanor said. Marie laughed once. And still, it wasn't enough. Duval moved toward the door. Marie walked calmly beside him. It was mine, Marie mutters, until she took it. The seal was black. The ink was violet. Poirot unfolded the letter, slowly. Dated, 3 weeks after the arrest. Eleanor's handwriting clear, clean, controlled. Monsieur Poirot, I imagine by now you are far from our valley. I wish you peace. He read on. I do not write with regret. I write with clarity. I loved no one in this house, not in the way people expect. Etienne was never kind, but he was mine, by law and name. Hastings asked. Is it bitter? No, Poirot said. Measured. He continued reading. People assumed Henri and I were lovers. We were not. He was useful, loyal, that's all. What I felt the night Etienne died was not shock, it was silence, and in that silence, I felt still. Poirot raised a brow, then read more. I saw Marie arrested. I did not cry. I believe she thought I had everything. The truth is, I had nothing. Now I have calm. The estate is broken, but I am not. I rise each day with less noise in my chest. Poirot folded the page. Halfway. Hastings leaned in. Is she all right? She is unchanged, Poirot said. Pause, which is also an answer. He opened the final lines. You sought justice. You found it. But truth, that is mine to live with. I remain in widowhood, as in marriage, by choice. Snow melts, and what was buried begins to grow. Elinard signed the final papers. Ownership, transferred. The estate, hers. She didn't smile. Hastings read the local paper. She's keeping it, he said. Poirot nodded. It is no surprise. The chateau reopened, quietly. Repairs made. Staff, rehired. No ceremony. Elinard sent out letters. Vineyard work resumed. A spring festival, announced. It's fast, Hastings said. She needs to move forward, Poirot replied. The town responded. Some avoided the estate. Some returned, out of curiosity. Elinard stayed distant, handled business on paper, spoke only when required. But she was present. She pays well, said one worker. She doesn't talk much, said another. Gossip faded. Scandal blurred. People adjusted. The festival arrived. Banners, barrels, wine. Children played. Locals gathered. Elinard stood at the center, said few words. No speeches. Poirot watched. From a distance, he did not approach. Hastings. She rebuilt it. Poirot, brick by brick, without asking anyone's permission. Days passed. The festival ended. Routine returned. The land grew again. Elinard walked the vineyard at dusk. Boots in mud. No one else around. She paused, near the old corner, the one where Etienne had once planted a special vine. She stood still, looked around. No voices, no footsteps, only stillness. She turned, then stopped again. Bitterness is a poison, but so is silence. Poirot sat by the fire. Notebook closed, eyes forward. Hastings poured tea. "You've been quiet." "I am thinking," Poirot said. "About the case?" "No, about the people." Poirot tapped his finger. "Twice. Eleanor, Marie, Etienne," he continued. "One unloved, one untrusted, one unyielding." Hastings sat across. "You think that caused the murder?" "Poirot, it caused everything. Marie poisoned him." "Yes, but only after years of silence." Hastings leaned back. "She didn't look sad." "She wasn't," Poirot said. "She was finished." Poirot looked down. "Hatred doesn't grow overnight." Pause. "It feeds on neglect. Day after day." Hastings. "And Eleanor?" "She endured," Poirot replied. "No affection, no loyalty. She became glass. Cold, clear, strong." "And Etienne?" "Never gave," he added softly. "Even power needs love, mon ami." Hastings nodded. Slowly, Poirot reopened the notebook. Everyone focused on the cake, the timing, the motive. "But what killed him," Poirot said, "was not just strychnine." Hastings. "Then what?" Poirot looked directly at him. "Years of cold words, empty dinners, closed doors. The poison was ready, long before the bottle." Silence fell. The fire crackled. Poirot's voice softened. "Sometimes, the absence of love becomes a weapon," Hastings whispered. "And the survivors, they carry the wound, even when they appear whole." Poirot stood. He buttoned his coat. "One last thing," he said. "The cake was a lie, Hercule Poirot says, but so was their love. Some truths ripen slowly, like grapes under frost." Poirot labeled the folder. "One last note," added. He closed the drawer. "Done?" Hastings asked. "Yes," Poirot replied. "It is finished." The Verne estate remained open. No whispers, no scandal. Eleanor never appeared again. No interviews, no photographs. She vanished by choice. She disappeared well, Hastings said. "She had practice," Poirot replied. The vineyard stayed quiet. Business continued. Profits rose. No one mentioned Etienne, not once. New workers came. Old ones stayed silent. The study stayed locked. Brandy, untouched. Cake, forgotten. Poirot kept both wills, the original, the forged, filed, separately. "It always begins with paper," he said. Hastings nodded. "And ends with silence." Poirot agreed. He shelved the file, carefully. "No heroes in this one," Hastings said. Poirot looked at him. "Only survivors." He turned toward the window. Snow, light and thin, returned. "They'll grow grapes again," Hastings said. "Yes," Poirot said. "But different ones," he added. "The roots remember," Hastings asked. "And the land?" Poirot answered. "It forgets what it can." The clock ticked. Poirot stood. The lights dimmed. He opened the next file, paused, then shut it. "Later," he whispered. "In the end the vines bore fruit again, but never forgot the winter." Surprised,